All right, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by another live episode of Real Estate Titans. I'm your host, Greg Fowler, traveling throughout the marketplace, interviewing the top real estate professionals in our field, essentially gathering insight, inspiration, really drives and motivates these top producers above and beyond everybody else in what I'd like to consider a real estate titan. Our very special guest and featured titan for today, Coach Super Mike. I'm really honored to have you. Mike, thanks so much for taking the time.
What's happening, brother? How are you, Greg?
Good, great. Hey, so we kind of did a little teaser because, you're from New Jersey, correct?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so going into that, you're not currently in New Jersey. So there was a special location that you're in, and it'll come into your story, but you wouldn't mind sharing that with everybody, kind of where you're at?
I have no problem right now. Can I show them?
Yeah, that'd be great.
First of all, I'm in this weird-looking yellow condo right now because it's a condo that we purchased on the island of Curacao. The sun is kind of shining in right now, but I'll show you. This is kind of what we're looking at right now. We got the ocean outside there and our palm trees, all that good stuff. So, so my wife and I, when I was about 30 years old, so it was about almost 13 years ago, we have our life goals and we set out to live on an island. That was one of our goals. So we just achieved that this past September. We purchased the condo, and as of 3 days ago, we're living on the island here for 6 months, and we're living in New Jersey for 6 months. So that's basically why you see the yellow and that background.
But what an amazing thing, though. I mean, to be in, one place for 6 months and another place, and a tropical paradise at that for another 6, truly living the dream, my friend. So, but I'm super excited just to share your story with the audience and what drives and motivates you, tools, tactics, and obviously your entire background and story. So, Mike, if you're all right with it, let's just jump into the series of questions.
Let's do it. Absolutely.
So I guess
thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We're having fun.
It's an honor. I can't wait to really just share you with the world out there amongst everybody else. So, but let's just start with telling everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yep. So, Mike Minervini, and I go by Coach Super Mike. In my former life as a real estate agent, I was Super Mike, and I had a team called Team Super Mike. So I basically carried that theme. And basically, I'm married. My wife's name is Melody. Beautiful, wonderful wife. No kids, no pets. Okay. Which allows us to travel all over the world, right? Mm-hmm. And for 20 years, I was in the real estate world. My first 2.5 at Weicker Realtors, and then my last almost 18 at Remax, where I retired. So I had a full-time, full-service real estate team, and my goal was to retire at age 40. We missed it by 1 year, so I retired at age 41, and sold the business, sold the team. To the Robert Dukansky home selling team, who's the #1 Remax team in New Jersey, and I think they're on the way to be #1 in the world also.
Wow!
And so, so that's kind of the real estate end of it. Okay. I started a real estate coaching company called Coach Super Mike, where I do one-on-one coaching with my real estate clients all over the country, and I could do that from anywhere in the world because it's video coaching just like this.
Sure.
What else? I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. That's basically, it's Christ, my wife and family, and then anything business. That's our basic order of priorities.
Beautiful.
And that's pretty much it. That's the basics.
Yeah, and I love that intro because, again, it gives a little bit of lineage and time frame for what you do and how you do it. So I want to rewind just a little bit with the real estate side. Just start with becoming a realtor. What was it like for you? Why real estate in the first place, Mike? What was your thought process during that time frame?
Yeah, so it was interesting. I was on the Board of Education. At that time, I was 18 years old. I was the youngest elected official in the country, and I was kind of looking at what I was going to do. I was working in retail, and a friend of mine, my friend Bobby Morgan, who's no longer with us, but a good friend of mine, he said, "Oh, well, I'm going to go get my real estate license." And my friend Tommy said the same thing. So we were all supposed to go together. Well, I went. They never showed up, and the rest is history. So I got my license. And I went, full-fledged all in. I was 19 years old when I got licensed. And
unreal.
The rest is history. By the way, I should say this for the viewing public.
Yeah.
Year 1 in real estate, I made $10,837.
Look.
Could not have remained in the business. I always tell everybody that.
Right.
So for those of you out there that might have been struggling or might be struggling right now, don't quit, don't leave, don't give up. Just press in,
And I love that you put that into perspective, because when everybody's starting out, it's always a new venture and it's tough and everybody's hard on themselves and they expect, huge results, but it takes time to really build a reputation and an empire, and to really grow what you've done. So in your career from the beginning to the end, what was it like for the transition into coaching and training so many amazing professionals and do what you do, to a higher standard? So why did you retire, and then why coaching? And then a little
Yeah,
bit about
great question. So basically, the retirement it was part of the plan, right?
that.
It was
Okay.
just, I knew I was going to exit at 40 years old. Like I said, we missed it by a little bit. But at the end of the day, it was about trying to live our lives, as opposed to when you really look at what real estate agents do, and you know this because you're a Titan yourself.
Oh,
Um,
thank you, sir. Thank you.
when you're in real estate, you're working constantly. And for those agents who do not know how to set boundaries, we teach that too. But for
Hmm.
those who don't know how to set boundaries, it becomes a world where you're always living and breathing real estate, and then we forget our lives, our spouses, our family, our friends, the things
Hmm.
that are really important, like being able to relax a little bit also. So that was always, a part of it, which is why we wanted to exit at 40 instead of, staying in the business for 30 or 40 years and having a heart attack in real estate.
Sure.
We wanted to exit on top. And then the other thing is obviously real estate had afforded us the ability to buy a lot of rental income
Hmm.
properties, which allowed us to have our retirement. So the transition was always part of the plan. But
Okay.
then as far as going into coaching, it was just a natural fit. I
Hmm.
love the teaching end of it. That's why I started the team. I loved having the team to be able to share and guide the agents that were there, and my staff.
Hmm.
And I loved all of them. They were great. So it was always a natural fit. I was always doing training anyway. I was always speaking at conferences and addressing audiences. So this is just a natural progression. That's what we did.
Wow. And to me, I love the fact that you are training so many professionals from all over the place and really helping growing and scale their business to a high note. And for me, when I look at somebody who to learn from, to be mentored by, is essentially what a coach is really going through. And I'm not putting words in any coach's mouths, but it's crucially important for growth. We all have certain aspects of our lives that we know and that we feel comfortable with, but there's certain people that we need to push us forward and really motivate us, but then look at it from an unbiased eye. But you practice what you preach. You're not just a coach for the sake of being a coach. You've walked the talk. You've been through the trenches, right, Mike? I mean,
And that's actually what I tell my agent clients. They know that everything I'm telling them to do, whether it's uncomfortable or comfortable for them to execute, they know that I did it. And
hmm,
when they don't respond and they don't execute on the things that we talk about, they hear about it from me, and I let them know, look, I've done this.
right.
Anything I'm telling you to do, I've done, and it's allowed me to retire at just past 40 years old in my life, right? And this is not, oh, Mike is so great. This
No.
is, I want to inspire you, execute, emulate, do the things that other people who are successful are doing, and you will become successful yourself. So no, you hit it 100%. And
Okay.
I don't give any guidance that I haven't followed myself.
Hmm. And I think to me that's crucially important. There's so many other, people that are watching or listening to this that are saying, okay, great, And so when it comes to getting in front of you or knowing more information about your program, would you mind sharing with the audience a little bit about the program and how you do what you do and that sort of thing, and where people can find you?
Oh, sure. I appreciate that. So, first of all, people can find me on coachsupermike.com,
Love it.
coachsupermike.com, and there it'll list all the different services under the service tab as to what we offer. I have many different services as far as speaking and everything else. But the primary service that I offer is one-on-one coaching, just like this. So, let's say you're my client.
Hmm.
We're set up side by side on Zoom, and we do 3 monthly coaching sessions per month, and it's all live. But the real key to my coaching is, number one, when you hire me, you get me. So
Hmm.
you're not getting somebody else on my team. I have an administrative staff, but you don't get anybody but me. Number
Okay.
one. Number two, it's 100% customizable. So let's say, for example, I'll give you an example. I have team leaders, individual real estate agents. I have broker owners, and everything that they do with me is customizable, where they fill out their application in the beginning, and then based on that, I set up all the sessions that I need based on where I think I need to fill in the holes and based on what their needs are. And then separate from that, they might say, so let's say, for example, Greg, you're a team leader.
Hmm.
You say, listen, I'm looking to recruit. I help you recruit. I help you interview live. We do live interviews like this.
Wow.
Let's say you're trying to call expires and you're not having success. I do live calls with you. I listen in live, I type in, I tell you what to say, what to do live on the call. Let's say, for example, you're looking to bring on administrative staff. I help to train administrative staff, anything and everything. Let's say you have a team and you want to use one of your sessions, your 3 sessions per month. I come in on your screen in your office and I train the whole team on a particular topic. So you utilize me any way you see fit. That's basically how we operate.
Okay. And I love the fact that what you had mentioned is obviously being fully customizable. And to me, my equation to that, anybody who knows me, is always with suits. So you can get a nice suit off the rack and, that's fine. And they'll fit certain things to you and it'll look all right. But if you get a fully bespoke custom suit, nothing looks better, nothing fits better. And I find the same way exactly. There's off the rack coaches, if you will, and there's bespoke. There's tailor-made coaches, and you're hitting it all the way through. So I love that, Mike. I really do. So, but when it comes down to it, so again, everybody check out, coachsupermike.com, any information, or just reach out to Mike directly. I'll have all of his information down below as always. So let's keep moving forward because I think that this next question is crucially important for everybody to get to know you a little bit deeper. And this ends up being the what's your why question, Mike. Now I always lead into it with, what motivates you, what gets you out of bed and excited every morning to do what you do to the level that you do it at?
So great question. And that's something that I talk about with my clients as well for themselves. So my why is very simple. It's like I said, it's God and Christ. That's my number one. My wife, Melody, and my family, and then anything business related. So I try to utilize my real estate business when I was a real estate agent to witness for Christ. So I would spend 2 hours on a listing appointment and, an hour and a half could have been talking about Jesus as opposed to real estate. So it's an amazing thing that happened. I do utilize my coaching business to introduce my clients to the Bible, whether I just ship them a Bible or whether I talk to them about God here or there, whenever it comes up. So I utilize that. And like I said, the rest of it, my why is revolved around supporting my family, my wife, and being with my family and friends. That's basically the why to all of it. And honestly speaking, if you look at and you calculate out the hours in a day, and you look at what we leave for our family and friends, it's so little, right? It's so little. So if we just kind of flip our priorities and realize that there's a different way, a better way to do it, then things kind of start to fall in line. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Am I a perfect husband? Absolutely not. Today I certainly wasn't, as an example. But
none of us.
but my point is it helps to line up the priorities.
Sure. And I love that. And you have wonderful priorities. And again, that really drives and motivates you as an individual. But there's so many other professionals that are watching and listening that they're literally agreeing with you saying, yeah, Mike's got it in the right order and we all do the best we can. And I think that really extends beyond ourselves. None of that was I'm my own why. It's everything that's besides us that really drives and motivates us. You're obviously religion, your family, your clients, and your friends and family, all that comes together, making the impact. So I love that why, Mike. Really, at the end of the day, I think it makes tons of sense. Going into it for this instance, this is actually the next question. It's a crowd pleaser for the people who are watching or listening to this. They really want to know what the Titans are doing or have done to grow and scale their business. Now, obviously, with the man that you are and knowing so many different things to grow and scale, we could talk about this for hours and hours. But if you could look back at your career, Mike, and pick or choose one or two things you added to your business that took it from one level to the next. I mean, what advice would you give to newer or seasoned professionals, whatever comes in your mind?
I have a few. Can I give you a few?
Yeah. Whatever comes to mind.
They're kind of like things that are pivotal that changed my life and my business for sure. So I would say one, definitely to have your priorities in order. We've already discussed that. So kind of know what your priorities are and execute on them. That's the first one. Second would be to take a day off each week, at least one day. Have it scheduled. And by the way, I do day off and vacation training for my clients. I actually customize a training called day off and vacation training because realtors don't do it. Right. When they take their day off or their vacation, they're really not off.
That's so true.
Day off and vacation, critical. And when I say day off and vacation, it is without this device. When my wife and I are on this island for 6 months out of the year, I am not considering that vacation, by the way.
Right.
We take separate vacations that are just without business, without anything at all. So I would say that's another one. For the real estate agents that are out there that are listening, and even for if the lenders get a hold of this video and they're listening, a personal assistant. I had a phenomenal personal assistant for many years. Her name was Pam Lynch. She was outstanding. She was like my right hand. And she, pretty much ran my business and all the operations. Check email, check voicemail. Held my phone and did my texting while I was with clients. So all of those things keep me productive. And then we built up our business to be able to purchase property. So anybody that has real estate, if you don't have real estate, you should be buying it. But when you get it, get a great property coordinator or property manager. We have a phenomenal property coordinator. Her name is Carol. Just fantastic, just on her game. So it's really, the other tip would be then just to surround yourself with good people that know what they're doing so that you can be productive and let those other people do those things better than you ever could do. So kind of let go. It would be another piece of advice. And the last thing I would say, there's many.
Yeah.
The last thing I would say is build your business to sell it. So build your business in a way strategically with systems and dialogues and package it so that when you're ready to exit, you have something that may or may not be tangible, but it is saleable. And that's I would say that's the real key. One more.
Yeah, keep going. This is
trying
great.
to give the audience some good nuggets. The other one that really helped my business when I was in real estate is my mastermind. I belonged to a really, really beautiful group of people. We had a RE/MAX mastermind with a bunch of RE/MAX agents from around the country. We would talk every two weeks on a video session like this. And we would meet 3 times a year and pretty much lock ourselves in a room for a couple of days and share the best ideas. So I would say mastermind with other great people, great minds, and try to share as much as you can, receive as much as you can, and make the whole thing work.
Wow. I mean, truly, Mike, if you break all those things that you just mentioned down, one of those things is going to make a huge impact on your business. But again, taking bits and pieces, beautiful advice all the way through and through. And anybody who is watching or listening, please take notes, pause, rewind, or just reach straight out to Mike. I mean, literally.
For hours, by the way. Let me just drop this in.
Yeah.
I do a complimentary coaching session, a half-hour complimentary coaching session without a real estate coaching pitch.
Wow.
So anybody that's watching this, you go to my website, you'll see the free complimentary session. Just do it. I won't pitch unless you ask me for information about coaching, and I'm happy to go over any of these topics and more.
Wow, I love that. I mean, it's just a wealth of knowledge, everybody. You're just getting a tiny glimpse of what this man can do and what he knows. So I'm just super thrilled. And again, all that's usable, applicable information going through and through. So I know everybody's loving this info. But Mike, I want to shift gears onto the next question here. And this is the tricky part of the series and interview. It's the challenge question. So I always lead into it with, look, everybody has challenges in their life. You know this, I know this. No one's exempt, whether it's in the past, now, or in the future. We all have personal or professional struggles or hardships, but I'm a firm believer it's not so much what happens, but how we respond, what we learn, and how we can grow and share from that truly matters. Not to take away pain or sorrow, because it's still there. So Mike, if you're comfortable sharing a challenge or two that you dealt with personally or professionally that you overcame or learned from, to share with everybody, what's that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, thank God I haven't had a ton of challenges, which has been great. But one that I can kind of pinpoint early on in my career, my life, was I grew up in a town that was a tough town with a very negative image. And I loved this town, right? Okay. So much so that I ran for Board of Education. I became the mayor of the town years later. And I loved it so much, but it made my skin so thick. And because it was a tough town, and because when you left the area, people would constantly ridicule and make fun of the area, make fun of the town. And so you kind of built up a really good defense. So I would say that was a challenge in my early years in life, but also in business. Okay. But I flipped the script. What I realized is a lot of the realtors were avoiding this particular town because they thought it was, whatever kind of town they thought it was. Sure. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take care of my people, these people that are in this town, and provide the best possible service so nobody would want to go anywhere else. And sure enough, at the height of my career, I owned 24% of the market share because of that. And years
Wow.
later, the realtors would say, oh, you only got that business because you were in politics. I said, no, no, no. I got that business because while everyone else was making fun of the town, I said to myself, I'm going to provide a great service. And so
Hmm.
I think that would probably be one. But the challenge really made me a lot stronger of a person and a business person, you know?
Sure. And to me, Mike, I mean, if you're looking at it from that perspective, is there's so many people that have their own judgments or thought processes of certain things. And I think that you need to do what's right for you and your family and your clients. And obviously you did that, and look at the success. I mean, 20+% market share in an area is
Heard of,
huge.
right? It's
It's
crazy. It's crazy.
huge. So, I mean, I look at that as most people would say, wow, what a negative situation. You turn that into a positive. And that's the point, is no matter what we're dealing with, if it's personal or professional, you try to look at it from the positive notes, as you did. You didn't just duck and run and say, I'm not here. I say, no, I'm here and I'm going to do it right. And look what came from it. So I love that. I think it's great all the way through. So much for people to learn it and go through. But Mike, I want to shift gears on this one. Go a little softer into this particular question. And this is my favorite. It's the travel back in time question. Now, this isn't designed to, well, if you could go back, you would change this, or you would put, X amount of dollars down on this particular stock. It's if you could go back in time and give your younger self a piece of advice or two, whether it's personal or professional. It could be last year, it could be 20 years ago. What would you say to young Mike?
I would say to young Mike, start buying real estate in your 20s. Because
Okay.
I think I missed the boat. I mean, meaning I definitely missed the boat. Clearly, obviously, I'm retired from the real estate world because of the real estate holdings that we have.
Right.
But I would say if I could have started, 15, 20 years earlier, I might have been able to retire at 30.
Wow.
Right? I mean, if I started in the beginning, meaning if I started when I was 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I just bought one house a year or something like that. So I would say, yeah, but start buying real estate early. And I think along those same lines that we talked about, make sure you buy real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I know so many real estate agents that are constantly getting their clients great deals, constantly, but they're not watching out for themselves, right? And it's great to get your clients deals, but it's important that you actually participate in the same market that you're trying to share with others.
Hmm. Well said. And I think that on the note of talking to your younger self, and I think that's what most people would evaluate. And very few people, if anybody that I've heard of, would ever say, you know what, I wish I waited a little longer. I wish I waited 10 years. It's always, I wish I started 10 years ago. And I think that question I really enjoy, because yes, we can't go back and change it, but we can change now. What we're doing now, and that advice that you give to your younger self, is applicable to everybody, myself included, today. And I love that.
I tell you honestly, it's like when you think about it, I don't have regrets. I know it might not make much sense to say it this way, but I don't regret it. It's just that if I had to do it all over again, I would. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't have regrets, because I think that the way it worked out is the way God's plan had, and it is what it is.
Sure. And you're literally a stone throw away from a gorgeous beach right there with palm trees.
I'm having a hard time focusing on you, even though I can't focus. Because of palm trees right now. But anyway.
I get it. I completely understand. I would love to be there and going through and through. But I want to I want to wrap this thing up. We got a couple questions left, and then we should be good to go. And this is actually another crowd pleaser in and of itself, because everybody wants to know, whoever's watching or listening, what the Titans are feeding their minds with, how they're growing intellectually. So I always lead into it with books you're reading or have read, podcasts you're listening to, influencers or coaches, that you really tune into. How are you feeding your mind, Mike?
Yeah. So I would say first, maybe I'll give you like my rundown of a couple of books.
Yeah.
So like the Bible, my first book. Try to read as much as possible. I've been through it a couple times, and still, I get something every time I read it. Proverbs specifically, that's a good one. My second favorite book would be, and this is one that everybody probably has read, but they should read every year, is Think and Grow Rich, of course, Hill. That helped me to also be part of that mastermind, and really that helped me to build my Super Mike slogan years ago, and really helped me to jump my business. Third book I would say is The Richest Man in Babylon. Just really great basic principles on how to build wealth. They seem too simple, but if you actually apply them, they work. I like Robert Kiyosaki. We have one of the most expensive board games in the world called The Rat Race. It's actually really great. Did you play Kiyosaki's board game?
I haven't. I have not.
It's a great game, and it's all about how to build wealth and accumulate properties and build passive income. So that's a great one there.
Love it.
Of course, I like listening to the Titans, Real Estate Titans. That's a great one.
Thank you, Mike.
Grant Cardone, anything Grant Cardone is awesome. And then, like I said, the mastermind principle and the Remax mastermind that I was part of, that was something that I kind of, really drew a lot from, and hopefully they felt that I gave too. So I would say that those would be the basics.
Okay. But what I like about that is there's so many different takeaways from books and audio files, and obviously knowing your craft and being with your people and learning and growing every single day amongst that. But it's always good for people to hear and see those things, and everybody's looking for recommendations that way. So as always, everybody, I'm going to have links in the comments down below so you can feed your mind and follow this brilliant man that we're talking to today, and I'm blessed and honored to have on the show. So Mike, I just want to thank you again. Just tons and tons of information and takeaways for everybody. And it's been an absolute honor. I want to wrap everything up with a final question. So this one ends up being a quote or mantra that you live by that sums you up as a man, as a professional. What's that look like for Coach Super Mike?
I would say the one that I had sitting on my desk for many years, and it's always kind of stayed with me, is no goals, no glory. And I love it. No goals, no glory. If you're not setting the goals and you're not setting them high, how can you bask in the glory if you're not having those set, right? So whether it's, running for the Board of Ed, or running for mayor, or, selling, the most homes in my marketplace, and building a team, marrying a beautiful wife, surrounding yourself with great staff and people, whether it's, living on an island, whatever it is that you'd like to accomplish, they all start off with a goal. So I would say, set yourself a goal book. Some people have a goal board. My wife and I have a goal book that we created.
Wow.
And every time we reach a new goal, we actually put a little red dot on that page that has a picture of that item. And the other thing that people do that I think is good is like I said, a goal visualization board. We never did that, but I have clients that do that. I think that's a great idea. So I would say, rounding it out, no goals, no glory.
I think that's beautiful, Mike. And again, no goals, no glory. It sums you up beautifully. And the energy and the enthusiasm that you have and your megawatt smile, Mike, I mean, it's been absolutely incredible to have you on. And again, you are an official real estate titan, my friend. So thank you so much again for taking the time.
Wait, hold on before you go.
For sure.
Let's see. The sun set a little bit.
Just look at that.
I just wish you could see the sunset.
It's there. If you're listening to the actual audio file here on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, please go to YouTube or Facebook and watch that. It's worth just seeing that beautiful view. But
by the way, let me just say this last thing, Greg.
Yeah.
I have my coaching clients, and I'm coaching them for the 6 months out of the year that I'm here. My studio is going to be turned around so they can see that background, because during the day, the sun doesn't hit the window. So they'll actually go see the water while we're coaching.
Perfect. It's beautiful, Mike. And I just love it. I love it for sure, all the way through and through. And thanks again. It's an honor. So everybody out there, thank you so much for your time and attention, your love and support. As always, if you like what we're doing here with the Real Estate Titans, please don't forget to like the Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and have a listen on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. We just opened up the Instagram, so check that out if you're into Instagram. Live every Tuesday and Friday afternoon, a different Titan, a different location. We'll catch everybody on the next live episode of Real Estate Titans. Take care.
Bye, Greg. Thanks.
See you, Mike.